The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Friday. In the Riv.
In the Riv. And we got one announcement.
Uh-oh.
For Monday. We will not be on the air.
That's right.
I am going to be under the knife.
Going under the knife. So everybody
send good thoughts.
good thoughts out to CJ.
And I already know that where I'm going in the hospital, they're in the recovery room. They're gonna say, "Oh, hi, how are you?" And so it's always crazy.
That's right. How come you're not doing a show today? Get going.
Get going, yeah.
Beat it.
They'll have me do the show from the recovery room like last time.
That's it. So we will see you on
Wednesday
on Hump Day.
Yep.
And so let's get right up to the big stuff here.
And by the way, that will be after a city council meeting. So.
True, which should be pretty. We got some stuff here that they're going to be talking about. But let's get down to the real nitty gritty here as we enter the official or unofficial campaign season. We have, I guess, the final list.
No, it's the final list of people who have
pulled. Papers. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if they don't.
Today's the last day to turn them in.
That's it. So and I think the only people, the only mayoral candidate who is filed is Paul Coogan.
Erica Scott turned hers in, and
yeah, but on so here they've got filed, so I don't know if they've.
No, that means that they've turned him into the city clerk to be on the ballot.
Yeah, but I mean, they've at least filed.
Right.
They've gotten their signature papers in, and actually, yesterday when I went to pay my water bill on the last day it was due, as I always do, as I said.
And give out your tours.
Well, it was actually Wednesday, I think, because I think I mentioned it on the show. Yeah, Wednesday. It was after Wednesday's show. I walked into the city clerk's office and to pay my bill, and the second floor, where they pay bills with their new lights, like a stoplight. Yep. And I see this guy talking to somebody, and he's got a whole bunch of papers, and we got to go upstairs to the 6th floor. And then I couldn't really. He kind of had his back to me. He turned around. He said, "Oh, Chip." And I looked at him. I said, "That guy looks familiar." But he goes, "Oh, it's Ricky Teeth, right?"
Yeah.
I don't know how you pronounce it. Teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how you doing? I said, "Oh," and he had his nomination papers in his hand. I said, "Would you like me to sign your papers?" "Oh, really, would you?" I said, "I sign everybody's papers. I think it's your right. If you're eligible to run for office, it doesn't mean I'm going to vote for you, but I will sign everybody's paper. I think everybody who wants to run should be able to get the signatures to run. Let you plead your case and see if you can win my vote and the people's vote." So I signed his papers, and off he went, and I paid my bill. And so that was the end. So I know he filed his yesterday. So I know they were going up to the 6th floor, so even though I don't believe he's on this list as being filed, I can tell you that he has filed his. Yeah, there's no.
This list was generated at 5 o'clock on the 10th, the last day.
Yeah.
That they could take out papers. Today's the last day to file them.
Yeah,
so,
and actually, they probably hadn't even begun his paperwork, but that was around lunchtime, just after our show, and when they brought the papers up to the 6th floor, so it wasn't, they hadn't gotten to mechanically, but I know that he did at least turn his papers in for certification.
Right.
So let's go over it. Where should we start? Let's start from the school committee. We'll save the best for last, Mayor. So we have Joshua E. Hetzler.
Who may not be able to take a seat this year.
Who may not be able to take a seat if he gets reelected.
If he gets reelected.
Thomas Corey, who is an incumbent. Sean Connell.
This is his second run.
Second run. Mark Costa.
Incumbent.
A regular. Yep. Tim McCoy.
A
filed.
retread.
A retread. Yep. Rebecca Collins.
This one's new.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I mean, Got a pretty good,
I got a pretty good memory for people who run for office, and
I do too. And I don't remember. Maybe she did, but maybe in a very large field, and she wasn't considered a.
Right.
But I don't remember. Paul B. Hart Sr., another retread.
Yep.
Michelle Larrabee.
Nope.
Yeah, that's another one. And Kevin Aguiar, retread. Okay.
Well, Kevin Aguiar's an incumbent.
That's right, but he's a retread.
Yes.
Yeah, and so at least we have enough people to have a school committee.
Yeah, but there's no primary.
Yeah, there's no primary, but
They don't have 13.
at least we have enough candidates if they all get their papers in
Exactly.
to actually have a school committee. Not that matters, because apparently they don't really do anything. Now, city council. Oh,
Here's the headaches.
here's the now we got. I'll let you do these. Go ahead, you read them off.
Colin Dias, which
Yep.
is a new candidate. He's 18 years
But
old.
not unheard of.
Not unheard of,
Yeah.
exactly.
He's been around since he was like, I think 7.5 he started. I don't know. So he's been
And
involved.
he's Will Flanagan's nephew, so
Yes.
so that's where that is. Michelle Dion, she's already filed the papers. This is her second time.
Well, another, although never elected, another well-known name. So
Yep.
so far we've got 2 people, unlike the school committee where we got a few people that, we really haven't heard of these people.
Yep.
But so far we have people who at least have name recognition in the community.
Yep. Stephen Long, which has name recognition, and
Yep.
he's an incumbent.
And he's an incumbent.
Trot Lee, this is his third run for office,
Yep.
I believe.
Yeah.
Ricky Teeth,
Yeah.
Brad Kilby,
Yeah.
incumbent.
Incumbent.
Christopher Peckham,
Yeah.
he's a corrections officer. This is his first time
Yeah.
out of the gate.
That's one whose name is not that well known.
Right. Matthew Springer.
Matthew Springer.
Another one who's not that well known. This is the first time out of the gate.
Yeah.
Zachary Borges.
Another.
Not a clue.
Yeah. Beatty Street. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shaker J. Shaker. What a name.
Well, ironically, a lot of the Arabic, Lebanese, Syrian people have those double names.
Yes.
And George, Michael.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know whether they continued it in the family to name him after, but that happened, and I know firsthand, since I know a lot of.
Yes.
I had a lot of relatives who came through Ellis Island, and when they got there, they asked for their surname and their given name, and they couldn't speak English.
Right.
So they would give them their surname, and then when it asked for the given name, they'd repeat it because they had no idea. All they realized was name.
Yep.
So it was, what's your name? What's your Michael? What's your given name? Michael, George. So, and that wasn't their name. Their
Right.
name, they had a completely different name, and then they came to the United States, and they not only got a new place to live and to get a future, they got a new name. So you see that a lot. There was a Ferris. Monty
Yeah.
Ferris, one of Monty Ferris's brothers, was named Ferris. So it seems strange, but in the Lebanese community in this city, it's not strange. There were
Right.
a lot of people that had
Well, it's just like
double.
It's just like in the Portuguese community. All the women are named Maria, and then they get another name, and they
Yeah.
all go by their second name.
Yeah.
All the men are named either Joe, Manny, or Manny.
Yeah, and the Irish are all Mary, Margaret, Mary. Yeah, so it's like so it's kind of an ethnic thing, but it's people look at it and they go, wow, that's really strange, but in reality it isn't when you come from a community that has a lot of ethnicity attached to it. So
Stephen Camara.
yeah, well,
another incumbent.
we all know that name.
James Noonan.
That's a new
That's a new one. Timothy Cole. There's another new one.
Yep.
He's from 16th Street.
Yeah.
Leo Pelletier, incumbent.
Yes.
Pamela Liberté-LeBeau, incumbent. Mark Nathaniel Malacone, not a clue. He's brand new.
Malacone. Yeah.
Linda Pereira.
Well, we know that name.
We know that name. That's a retread.
Yeah.
Cliff Ponte.
We know
Joe
that.
Camara and Sean Kadim. All the incumbents except for Derek Viveris have taken up papers. which means there's one seat available. In essence, if this election goes like every other election in Fall River has gone, all 8 incumbents will take a seat, and odds are it'll be Linda that takes the 9th seat.
Yeah, well, let's hope we see some changes. There's been some people that have been extremely disappointing, supporting ridiculous things and objecting to things, and just creating, making it worse to execute the process of representing the people. And I think that I'm kind of looking forward to it. We're going to have some of the candidates on. I think we should have all these candidates if we can. We're going to be kind of busy. But I think especially some of these new candidates, they're virtually unknown, unheard of, and all you're going to see is a soundbite. So maybe if we can get them on here and maybe dedicate, we've got a lot of time till September. And even if we begin to reach out to them and have just one day a week dedicated to having a candidate on, we can at least give them an introduction, and then we'll see if we want to recycle, bring them in a second time. But especially, well, as you said, the school committee, most of them are pretty well known. We all know who they are. But city council, there are a few names that you look at it and you go, wow,
Never heard of this one.
never heard of this guy. And let's see if they've got a different perspective. Let's see if they actually care about taxpayers. Let's see if they actually have to live on a budget and don't think that they can walk to the taxpayer ATM machine every time they want to get something. So I think it's going to give us some a lot of conversation. That's why I love election season. And now, for the biggie, the grand poopah of the city. Candidates for mayor. Who do we have? We have Paul Coogan. Yes.
Second time running for mayor because he tried in the recall.
Yeah, and I don't even count that because, look.
Hey, I count it because he got 63% of the recall.
Oh, no, I understand it. But the thing is that that election was a fiasco.
Yes, it was. Because
of the plurality. You can't do that. You completely negate. By having it set up that way, it was, and let's get back to the charter, which is always horrific to talk about. It gives me agnias just talking about it. That they've created a charter which is supposed to ensure that our government is run for the people. That's what a charter's for. It's like the Constitution of the city. And they politicize everything in there. They've got that objection rule where some idiot, no matter what it is, they can object and just hold it for no grounds. Just, I object, and that's it. It goes to, it's crazy. And then we've got this issue where the people of the city can say, we want this guy out. We want to recall this person. And then you get 100 people running for the office, and the guy gets in by a minority of the vote. 34% to 60 to 66% or 65 points. I mean, almost double the amount of the votes he gets, and he goes in office. It flies in the face of what a recall's about. It allows someone, and that should have been that should have been the first thing that they took care of when they redid the charter. And shame on everybody except Dan Robillard.
Here's a side note on that. Joe Macy submitted an opinion, or whatever it may be, a report on the Charter Task Force Committee. Mm-hmm. And he said, I guess it's a recommendation, that they remove the recall provision from the charter. Because they've already removed it from state law. So if they remove it from the charter, we no longer have a recall provision, which means we can never recall another person, which means we'd have to go back to the state to get a new recall petition. Yeah.
Which is, again, a political move.
Right. The whole opinion, and I mean, if you get a chance to read it, you should. I'll send it to you tonight. It's amazing. It truly is amazing. I mean, you read it. It's written from the Jazel book of politics. It really is.
Yeah, it's a politician's view. It's an attorney who's working for a politician, who's getting paid by a politician, fashioning something to insulate them from being held accountable,
Right.
which is what this country was based on, which is reprehensible. The fact is that this is supposed to be a republic. They are supposed to be answerable to us, and this is the ultimate answerability. A recall. You're fed up with them, and look what the politicians do. They do everything they can to get a lifetime position. We can't recall them anymore, no matter what they do. You can't. Now they want to extend it to a 4-year term with all this crap. They're talking about 4-year terms again. Why? To keep them in office longer so they can raise money. Now they have to raise money every 2 years, and they're accountable to the people every 2 years. Let's leave them in for 4 so they get 3 years of raising money to get a campaign war chest to make them more difficult to beat. It's disgusting. All right, but we segued off, but it's important because we shouldn't even bother. Let's eliminate elections. Joe, fashion an opinion. Throw the election process out because it doesn't count. It doesn't count. What the hell? You got the Dems that have been complaining since Trump got elected. The day after the election, he's not my president. Well, he is. You may not like it, and you have every right not to like it, but he is the president. He was duly elected.
That's like saying Jazel's not our mayor.
That's right. Jazel's not our mayor. But the first thing they said after he got elected is, he's the mayor.
That's right.
He's the mayor. Doesn't make any difference that he truly was not elected by a majority, and Trump wasn't either. Trump was elected by the Electoral College and the Electoral.
Maybe that's what we need.
And if you get, and who's going to be on the Electoral College? Joe Macy, Kathy Ann Viveras. That'll be the Mary Sahadi. The chief of staff, whoever it is, Monica. That'll be the Electoral College. Jason will stay in forever. He could get 1 vote in the election, and the Electoral College would vote him in. It's kind of like when the Democrats in the previous election, when Trump got elected, said, we don't care if the people want Bernie.
That's right. We have enough superdelegates.
We got enough superdelegates to make sure that Hillary's going to be our nominee, and she was. But hey, then again, this again is a reminder to the people that you allow this to happen. When you allow these lifetime ticks that we call politicians to stay in office for their entire adult life and suck the very taxpayer blood out of you, unfortunately, you get what you deserve. I don't vote for people unless they're working for me.
Yeah, you're talking, I mean, and just look at the state level. You've got Mike Rodrigues, who's been there forever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Carol Fiola's also been in politics for a long time. She was on the governor's council
for a very long time.
Before she became a state rep. So,
and I truly, as we said, I truly believe, I don't believe that politics should be a career. It is public service. You should go there like our forefathers did. You know, George Washington didn't stay president for life. He might have been able to.
Right.
He might have been able to stay there until he croaked. But he didn't. He served his country. He won the right to have this nation by being the general of the Continental Army. But he didn't stay in there for life. He served and he went back, as did Thomas Jefferson, as did many of our forefathers. You know, Andrew Jackson was a military man. You know, Ulysses Grant served their country.
John Adams was a farmer.
John Adams was a farmer. He went back to farms because they were there for the good of the republic. They created that republic, and they had the right perspective. They came, they tried to shape our nation, and then they went back to the real world. And that's a constant reminder of what your job is.
That's it.
To give the people a good government, a government that cares about the people, that will ensure domestic tranquility and provide for the people of the United States.
Well, you know, if we can't get it locally.
But you get some tick that gets up in Washington or in Boston and stays there for 30 years sucks up paychecks, they can give themselves a pay raise anytime they want. They can give themselves a stipend anytime they want. They don't have to worry about health care. They don't have to worry about retirement. They don't have to worry about anything. They're a ruling monarch. That's what's destroyed this country. That's why we got what we got in Washington. We got a bunch of people fighting over everything except what is directly affecting the people and the working people of this country. Prescription drugs, rampant crime, but who cares? They don't care. Why don't they care? You're never going to get them out. It's harder than getting, and they're worse than Lyme disease because you can't get rid of them either.
Yeah, well, you know, if it's not going to be, if it's no different at the local level, why can you expect it any different at the state level or at the national level?
Well, but the only thing about that is, CJ, it disturbs me. Obviously, it disturbs me on every level. But I know that I can't elect a president. My one vote isn't going to help.
Right.
Create.
Not going to help.
I can't elect a congressman. But we can really affect the people of Fall River if they got their act together and started paying attention. You could start the revolution. Like, where did the revolution start? On the bridge at Lexington and Concord.
That's right.
One shot started a revolution.
Heard around the world.
A shot heard around the world. In this state, we started this country. We started the revolution. And why can't we start a revolution like we did with the recall? We were the first recall ever to be successful in this state. Why can't we drain our swamp? Because we as a people, it doesn't take a lot to elect a city councilor. So we can affect the change on this level. This is the level you can affect the greatest change and do it quickly. One election can turn this city upside down.
Yes, it can.
But on a state level, we're only a cog in the wheel. But maybe if we do it on a local level in some other community, like look what we did with our recall. There were recalls springing up all over Massachusetts after we got a recall.
That's right.
So why can't we do it here? So this is why this election...
They also were popping up in Rhode Island, remember that?
That's true. But, this is why we need to get these candidates out. So let's finish. Next, Jazel F. Carrere, the two.
The two.
Of course, we know who he is.
Yep.
As do the feds. Oh, did I say that? No. Erica Scott Pacheco.
Yep.
And Angel L. Pantoja.
Angel L. Pantoja.
Yeah. Well,
yep.
and Angel. Yeah.
But I don't even think he's turned his papers in. He hasn't even formed a campaign committee.
Yeah.
So,
and this is a thing. But we know that Erica Scott is serious about running, and she has secured signatures,
yep.
and so we will have a primary there too. So we're going to have looks like we're going to have...
There's 20 in the city council.
20, okay.
So 2 people are going to get bounced.
Yep. So at least it won't be no primary for council or committee. At least we're going to have one anyway for a council. So.
Right.
Well, wait a minute. We're anticipating if all 20 people get to secure the signatures.
Exactly.
Too. So that's another issue. But those are the people we got, and...
God help Fall River.
God help Fall River. And we have our council meeting. They're going to be talking about marijuana dispensary address. Up to buy drugs, that it's the biggest business around, and we went over that.
Yeah, and they're actually hiring more police officers over there, so
yep.
There's some more detail work.
More traffic jams, though, because look, that's the police's job. I understand that. But the reality is, nothing irritates me more than around Christmas time when you used to go near a shopping mall or a liquor store and they hire cops to stop traffic on a state highway.
Yeah.
Or a state road, Route 6. They're stopping you, and you're on a road to let people come out of a private entity. I think that's illegal. Actually, we should have the right of way. I'm on Route 6 stuck in 2 miles of traffic because they're letting some liquor store customers go in and out of the parking lot for 15 minutes. And that's ridiculous. But this is what they're going to do. That's not going to help the traffic. It's going to hurt traffic because they're going to be stopping traffic and You know, but that's their job. They may avoid accidents, but it's not going to help the traffic. But I got to get to this because this really, Frank Coletta's retiring, and I hope he has a great retirement after 40 years.
He's going to go co-hogging.
Let him go co-hogging. But the U.S. poised to begin immigration enforcement operation. It was all over the news this morning, making me sick while I was having breakfast, about the mayors who are ordering their police departments not to help ICE. Well, they're lucky that Trump's the president, not me, because you know what I would do with any mayor who did that? I would arrest him for obstruction of justice, and I would order the police department to do their job, to enforce law. Do you realize that the mayors of these communities are telling their police department not to do their job? You cannot pick what you get to do.
But they keep screaming to the feds they want more money for police.
That's exactly what I was saying. They're lucky that I'm not, because you know what I'd do? I'd have the mayor arrested, and I don't care if he ultimately, some liberal judge says, I just throw his butt in jail for ordering a law enforcement agency not to enforce the law. And then, if that law enforcement agency executed that order, I would take all the federal funding away.
Yeah, so would I.
Let them, you know, no more tanks, no more Humvees for you from federal surplus, no more drug seizure money, no more you're out. See what happens to your police budget without all this money getting poured in, because, and I don't, look, and don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming the police department. They got to follow orders. That's it. But to me, that's not, unfortunately, it's not a defense. It's like the Nuremberg trials. We were following orders. But the reality is the police have to do what the mayor tells them. But I hope that every police officer realizes, and I'm sure they do, that they swore an oath to uphold the law. And these people who are being deported have been duly deported. They've had their day in court. They've been ordered to be removed, and they are enforcing the law. And it's a travesty, because these progressives, which they're not, they're socialists. They're pandering, so they don't care about the law. You can't enforce only the laws you like. What happens if we have a general in charge of a military operation, and they decide to send them to a country that he happens to have relatives in? He says, well, I'm not going to go there. Even though they're a threat to the United States, I'm not going to go there because I got relatives there. That's not the way it works. When you hold your hand up and swear an oath in the military, you do what the government tells you to do. Otherwise, like it or not, and if you don't, you get court-martialed and you get thrown in Leavenworth.
Club Leavenworth.
When you're a police officer, you are sworn to uphold all the laws, not just the laws that your mayor decides he wants you to follow. And I feel bad for those police officers, because I'll tell you what, heaven forbid an ICE officer gets killed during these things, sweeps, because I'll tell you what, if that community is not assisting in those operations with their police because of the mayor, as far as I'm concerned, the mayor should be charged with murder.
It's quite the possibility, that's for sure. It's quite the possibility.
So
well,
hey, stay angry, everybody.
And remember, we will not be on the air on Monday, and I hope to be back here on Wednesday.
And
have a great weekend.
And that's right, everybody. Think good thoughts, and I'm going to wish CJ a successful cutting. I hope they operate on the right appendage.
Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.